Welcome to Awkward Chats, where we take you on a hilarious journey behind the scenes of our travel adventures, and it can get a little awkward.
I'm Nacy.
And I'm Gary.
And together, we make up Lost Girl in Tomorrowland, our YouTube channel, where we go on fun adventures all across the US. But that wasn't enough. We wanted a place where we could talk about the real behind the scenes that goes into producing our channel.
Awkward Chats is your ticket to the real, unfiltered side of our travel adventures and a place where we can start your awkward conversations.
So buckle up and get ready for an adventure full of laughter, mishaps, and of course, awkward topics.
You can find new episodes every month, everywhere you get your podcast. This is Awkward Chats. So what you been up to lately?
So I have been ordering a bunch of stuff on Amazon.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Because I got the itch to start doing my nails again. And I think the delivery lady hates me because one of the days she delivered 7 boxes.
Yeah, they definitely had a lot of boxes to get you.
So just to kind of give you guys a little backstory, I used to be a cosmetologist before I went to school to be a nurse. So I do have a background in this. And honestly, I don't trust anybody up here where we're at. There's a lot of chop shops, and if you know what that is, you know what that is. But basically, I trust myself to do my own nails, and I just needed to get all of the tools to do that. And so hopefully tomorrow, I'm hoping I will get the chance to possibly do my nails before we go to California again.
Yay. I've been up to just trying to do a little more card collecting, just trying to start that again. I actually reached out to a few people, and it's been a fun experience. A lot of them are on Facebook Marketplace, so they're kind of locals. And the funny part about it is that there are so many fake cards out there anymore that it's just kind of like this crazy. I was talking to this one person about a Sandy Koufax rookie card, right? And so I'm like, okay, they want about 3 times what it's worth on eBay if you just buy it on eBay. So I'm like, I'll give you this, and it was a little bit lower than what you get on eBay, but come on. It's not authenticated. It's not anything. And he's like, oh, well, that's really low. Why are you going so low? And I'm like, because there's so many fakes. And he's like, oh, this isn't a fake. He sent me this PSA certification. So he got 4 cards done at PSA, which is an authentication thing. If you don't know what that is, basically you send your cards in and they can grade them, but they also just say whether they're authentic or not. But he didn't send the card we're talking about in. So the card we're talking about is the most valuable card out of the 4 that he sent. And I'm just thinking in my head, so you have a more valuable card that you chose not to send in and get authenticated, and you chose these other cards. Doesn't that make it even more suspicious?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you send the one that's going to make you the most money? And so it's he's trying to prove that, oh, well, I got these authenticated. Okay, you did, but you didn't get the card.
One authenticated.
Yeah, but you didn't get the card we're talking about, and you also want more than what they asked. And he's like, oh, it's probably a 3 or 4. It's not. It's got folds in the corners, and it's a little bit dingy on the back. It might get a 1, 1.5, but it's not going to get anything higher than that. And I'm just sitting there thinking man, these scammers. I saw another one a few weeks ago, was going after a Michael Jordan rookie, a 9086 Fleer. And I'm literally asking him what's this? And he sends a PSA number. The PSA number doesn't go to anything. It's a fake number. I'm like, you people are crazy. And they're like, oh, I want $3,000 for this. It's oh, good luck with that.
Yeah. I guess they think most people are just oblivious to that.
Yeah, I don't know. And they must think that I don't know, because they pretend to be sold. And I don't know if they're not selling them and they're just pretending like they're sold, or if some sucker is buying them. But it's just crazy. And we're in the southeast. So it's kind of the Georgia mountain area and stuff. And they're just buying these cards up. And I'm just I don't think any of them are real. But yet someone is buying them, or they're pretending to sell them. And it's also strange too, because we go to antique places occasionally, and sometimes they have cards or comic books, and they're always just as expensive, if not more expensive than eBay. And it's why would I buy them from you? You're a random nobody in the middle of nowhere. Whereas at least with eBay, you get some kind of hey, this is real.
Right.
And you actually have an option to get money back if something goes wrong. I have none of those things here, and yet you think yours is more valuable.
That's weird.
So it's been just this fun experience of kind of learning about this again, touching back into the card collecting, because I did it when I was a kid. I haven't done it for a while now, and just kind of trying to jump back into that. That's kind of what I've been up to lately.
Yeah, we used to like to go to card stores and just fumble through them.
Yeah, that's a little different experience because you're looking at the dollar cards and stuff, which is fun. but we haven't found any real good card shops.
No.
And we've also been looking for video stores too. So if you know one in the North Georgia mountains that are video stores, I want to get the Wizard and she wants to get City of Angels. So we're trying to find some place to get these things.
So yeah, let us know because we're always curious. So next up, we're going to be talking about Halloween movies.
Yeah, and Halloween adjacent.
Welcome back to the podcast. It is our October Awkward Chats.
Second month of Nacy being in charge of the audio.
And I just like to play with it. Ooh, ooh.
So this month we're going to talk a little bit about our Hollywood movie picks. You can kind of tell us what you think about it. I mean, we had some downtime this month, so we figured we would talk about the movies we're going to watch, gearing up to Halloween.
Yeah.
And then we're going to end the podcast with our most recent trip to our hometown.
So if you guys like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe to the podcast because we are trying to get to 100 followers.
Yeah. So let's start with movies. So is there anyone that you want to start with, or you just want to take the list that we have?
Let's, okay, so I want to preface this by every year, ABC Family, Freeform, whatever you want to call this channel, they have been through very many iterations. They do 30 Days of Halloween. So this kind of sparked that conversation for us. Mm-hmm. And going into the Christmas holiday, we have Christmas movies that we enjoy watching, and we've never really sat down to talk about what do we watch in the fall. And
if you want to see those movies, check us out on Moscow and Tomorrowland at YouTube, and you can see a bunch of videos where we recap it during the Vlogmases.
Mm-hmm. We love holiday movies, and so we decided we were going to explore some more Halloween fall content and give you guys a list. Maybe you haven't heard of some of these, maybe you do, or maybe you just didn't think to have a Halloween movie marathon.
And they're definitely lighter on the videos. Like, we're not doing hardcore horror movies. That's just not...
We don't do slashers.
We don't really watch those very often. But there are a couple included.
So, without further ado, the first one on the list,
was Halloween Town.
Oh yeah, Halloween Town.
So I discovered Halloween Town only a few years ago. I didn't watch it when it first came out, in probably about the early 2000s.
Yeah, it came out. It was a Disney Channel original movie.
It's a little bit between my time of enjoying Disney. I was probably in college at that point and wasn't really paying attention to the Disney Channel.
It was like middle school, high school, so I was in the gap of their age demographic, and it was one of the movies that I think I was allowed, if it was on and I didn't tell my parents I was watching it, I was allowed to watch it because there was like a no Halloween ban in my household. So
it's not really that scary.
No, it's really not. But it's essentially about the town of Halloween Town, and that's where all of the characters or people that are involved in Halloween live. So like witches and vampires and werewolves and pumpkins and skeletons.
And it's like an alternate reality type of thing. You have to take this bus through like this portal.
That only opens on Halloween Eve.
Yeah. And it's closed the entire year, and their time moves slower than it does here too. So there's a bunch of different dynamics for Halloween Town. But basically the mom is from there, but she wants to separate herself from it, so she's not letting her daughter become a witch, and it's the daughter's, whatever age it's supposed to be, last chance to become a witch. And so the mom made the decision for her when she shouldn't have. It's one of those coming-of-age stories.
Yeah.
You know, it's the perfect recipe for a Disney movie on Disney Channel.
And they did make 3 Halloween Town movies.
One of them without the main actress for some reason.
Yeah, which is kind of weird.
To this day, it's not really clear why.
What fascinating fact about this movie is the main actress ends up marrying the bad guy in real life. Like they're actually together in real life. So if you go on TikTok, you can find them. They make content together sometimes. So yeah, just like it's a very fun, lighthearted, nothing too crazy goes on, and it's just like a nice, cozy fall movie, I think.
I would say it's probably a little bit safer Hocus Pocus is what I would say. Like, it's not as, there's some kind of scarier aspects to Hocus Pocus. This really doesn't have much of those. You have like one jump scare with the taxi guy one time, and it's not even that jump scary.
Yeah.
Which kind of rolls into another one, which is Hocus Pocus. So Macy considers that one to be a Halloween movie as well.
Well, yeah, because you have to light the black candle on Halloween night, and you have to be a virgin.
Mm. So do you consider Hocus Pocus 2? Is that a watchable one, or is it just Hocus Pocus for you?
I'd have to rewatch Hocus Pocus 2 because I watched it sort of last time and I fell asleep during it. So
Yeah, I didn't. I thought it was. Yeah, I didn't care for it.
I might
I like
rewatch
the
it.
first Hocus Pocus. It's a fun with the whole like cat and stuff. That story's interesting. His sister.
Thanks.
It's kind of interesting, but the second one didn't have those elements to it, so it was just kind of dry and kind of boring.
Yeah, it was. So maybe we'll rewatch it because I did just resubscribe to Disney Plus, which means I can't sue them, but that's another story. And so yeah, we'll have it available. So maybe we'll throw it on while we're just casually hanging out, but I don't know that it's gonna be like make our list of favorites.
So our next one on the list, I think Hocus Pocus, well, I don't know about Hocus Pocus 2, by the way. I think that makes our list.
Mm-hmm.
Is Five Nights at Freddy's. That's a new one.
Yeah. And interesting enough, there is another movie with Nicolas Cage
Let's just
that
talk about Five Nights at Freddy's
is
first.
kind of like it. But Five Nights at Freddy's, I think it's spooky. It doesn't necessarily take place during Halloween. So
this is the conversation we've been having off camera. What constitutes a Halloween movie? Like, I feel like Christmas movies are pretty obvious. It has to take place at Christmas, or it has to be Santa related, in my opinion. That makes it a Christmas movie, right? For Halloween, it's a little more sketchy. Like, are scary movies just considered Halloween movies? But then, like, what is this? What constitutes? How far is scary still a Halloween movie?
I think it depends on the person. For me personally, I don't partake in spooky movies unless it's the fall Halloween. Like, that's the only time of year I feel like I partake in spooky movies.
Okay.
So to me, a Halloween movie just needs to be spooky, or it can take place during Halloween or fall. Those are my requirements. Now, your requirements may be different, and if so, let us know in the comments. But that's what qualifies a fall Halloween movie for me.
Okay, so Five Nights at Freddy, it's a semi-scary movie. It's honestly not that much scarier than like Halloween Town and stuff.
No.
It's more of like a sad movie because it's really about kids being killed by a serial killer. You know, that's kind of the gist of the movie.
Yep.
And it's just really sad kind of finding out all the loopholes. I don't want to, there's a bunch of different, like, you know, it's a twist in the movie. So I don't want to ruin that for you, but it's not really that scary. There's like one big jump scare when people try to steal from the arcade and they get killed by the robots. But beyond that, it's not really that frightening.
And it's based on a video game.
It is based on a video game, yeah.
Which I've
a long
never
time
played.
ago. I have. It's been a very long time though since I played it. And then there's the Nicolas Cage offsuit that Nacy touched on a little bit, which is called Willy's Wonderland, which is fantastic.
It's on. When we watched it, it was on Hulu.
It's on the level of a Christmas Consultant, in my opinion. It's so bad, but it makes it so good because it's so bad.
Yeah, so if you're into like cult horror classics, I think it falls into a cult classic following.
And it's weird.
It is strange.
It's so hard to explain because it's kind of Five Nights at Freddy's because there's like this Satanist cult or something like that opened the store and was sacrificing children.
And
kind of just
the animatronics come to life just like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Because they try to become immortal, they become the animatronics, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for some odd reason, Nicolas Cage can beat them all up with super strength, but no one else can.
And he drinks grape soda.
And he takes breaks and drinks grape soda. So they're still like running amok, and he's like, it's break time.
Yeah, break time.
He goes in the office.
Plays pinball and...
Yeah. And he doesn't say anything in the movie.
No, he doesn't utter a word.
Which is the most fascinating thing. Like the entire time we're watching this movie, we're like, is he going to say anything?
Mm-mm.
Is he going to say anything? He doesn't say a word.
No, and he just kicks these robots' asses.
Yeah, it's so weird and so Nicolas Cagey.
Yeah.
That it's fantastic and it's all right.
We really like that one, and that one had to go into our spooky movie criteria.
So it kind of makes it, again, I don't think it takes place at Halloween, but the whole, like, you know, satanic cult and all that stuff sort of pulls it into the Halloween area.
Yeah. So next on our list is Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which is another Halloween horror cult classic.
One of my favorite things to find at Spirit Halloween is Killer Clown stuff.
And we've really only in the last couple of years really delved into this killer clown from outer space thing. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I 100% do not like clowns. It's not for me. And I'm waiting for the day that I come home and he has bought a killer clown mask and he is just like, mask talk. And I'm like, not that mask talk. No, sir. But yeah, I would be absolutely terrified, and it would make me shit myself.
So they're supposed to come out with a video game. I think the video game has come out, but I'm not 100% sure. And then there's also talk of a sequel at one point, which I would love to see. But Killer Clowns is basically these clowns from outer space that are aliens. They come down in like this circus tent, and that's their spaceship. They end up wrapping people up in like candy cane, and that's kind of how they preserve them to eat them later.
Cotton candy.
And then like, I'm sorry, cotton candy, not candy cane. And then they have this little like popcorn, like parasite things. I mean, it's so funny. It's so goofy. It's so 80s bad. Horror, so it's just absolutely insane. On good terms. And it really
it's not that gory.
No, it's not.
It's really not very gory.
And there's only a couple like jump scares in it. It's not super scary. It's just more weird and kind of cultish, I think. And I enjoy that part of it.
It's very sci-fi.
Yeah, very sci-fi.
Very sci-fi. All right, so
the next one would be Ichabod Crane.
Yeah, The Adventures of Ichabod Crane. So if you want to watch this, if you want to get it, you actually have to get The Adventures of Mr. Toad. And there's like a few cartoons that are in it, but Ichabod Crane is within this set of movies.
We did go to Ichabod Crane's schoolhouse. You can find that on our YouTube channel, Lost Girl in Tomorrowland. He also is the Headless Horseman, comes out at the beginning of all of the parades at Disney World during the Mickey Not So Scary stuff.
And you can actually go to the town of Sleepy Hollow, which is not where Ichabod Crane's schoolhouse is. It's in upstate New York. Both of them are in upstate New York, but they're about 3 or 4 hours away from each other.
Which is kind of weird.
Yeah. And Sleepy Hollow, you can actually go to the town of Sleepy Hollow, and they do a recreation of the story of Ichabod Crane, which I think is so cool. It's on my bucket list of things to do one year for fall, that and going to Salem. And I think that's really cool. The whole Headless Horseman thing and the story of Ichabod Crane in general. He's actually quite a narcissist if you watch the story. I don't think Ichabod Crane is a good person deep down. He's like this ladies' man who thinks he's just too hot to trot, maybe is the word. And he basically gets his ass ran out of town by the Headless Horseman, and nobody really knows, was it the big guy in town, or was it really like
the many husbands of the wives that he was wooing?
Nobody really knows who ran him off, basically. Or is he dead? You don't really know.
And if you're watching that, watch the Mr. Toad. It's fun too. He goes to hell. I mean, that kind of makes it somewhat Halloween-y.
Spooky.
But, you know, the issue with Ichabod Crane, I feel like, is the Headless Horseman makes it very, like, Halloween-y, you know. Then we have, of course, Nightmare Before Christmas. Now, this is technically a Christmas movie, but also technically a Halloween movie. It's kind of both.
Yeah, it kind of encompasses the whole later part of the year, because you've got Halloween Town meets Christmas, and you've got Jack Skellington who wants to be Santa Claus, but you've also got the inner workings of Tim Burton and his whole darker storytelling to it, which I think is absolutely fascinating. And it, again, was another one of those movies I was not really allowed to watch when I was younger. And I enjoy watching it every now and again. It's not the best movie ever, so please don't come at me in the comments. But I do enjoy the characters. I like Zero, who's the dog. And I do like the Sally character. I think she's kind of cute and interesting. She's very much an airhead and like kind of ditzy. And it's a whole love story. I mean, like there's a lot of deeper elements to Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, I like Oogie Boogie. He's, I think,
Oogie Boogie.
He's not in that much of the movie.
He's really not.
When you think about it, he's only probably in like 5 minutes of it, maybe 10. And he's not in that much, but he's a really solid character. And of course, Jack Skellington's interesting. Like this whole, he wants it to be good, but he doesn't know how to make it good. But
his whole internal conflict.
Yeah, he's not trying to hurt anybody, but he's also hurting people by doing what he's doing. So it's like this whole kind of goings on that he has. And you speak about Tim Burton. You know, you could have Beetlejuice in here too.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Yeah, both of those, the new one, Beetlejuice, and Beetlejuice, two good movies too.
Yeah.
They could be kind of considered Halloween movies because they even have the weird Tim Burton kind of horror pitch to them.
Not to give away too much from the newest movie, but it does take place during Halloween. So.
Oh, that is true. It does. Yeah, you're right. So I guess Beetlejuice is technically a Halloween movie. I would consider that one even
Yeah.
Halloween movie. The first one does not, though. The first one
No.
takes place. It's not really clear. I think it's summertime, honestly.
It's just another one of those like Tim Burton spooky storytellings.
Yeah. So now what we have that is kind of Christmassy too is Gremlins.
Yeah.
So Gremlins actually takes place during Christmas time, the first one.
And to me, again, it kind of goes back to that whole like, is it spooky? Yeah, it's spooky. Let's watch Gremlins because it's just it's a suspenseful. It's more suspenseful than I think it is anything. It's not super gory. There is some violence in it, obviously, as the Gremlins start to like take over and take people out.
Yeah, Gremlins Mogwais become Gremlins. Yeah.
So there's that whole aspect, but I think it deserves a spot in your Halloween playlist and Christmas one.
So we got the Haunted Mansion, specifically the Muppets one is what we're going to talk about, but there's a couple other ones we'll touch on at the end too.
Yeah, I absolutely loved the Muppets Haunted Mansion.
So the Muppets Haunted Mansion, he's actually there for a Halloween party, so it meets that criteria. The Haunted Mansion is the Haunted Mansion, so it's kind of like a scary, spooky ride.
Yeah.
It's kind of goofy.
And they just play homage to the ride itself, and they don't get too lost in the specifics of it. They just take a whole Muppets flair and just kind of make it funny and goofy, but they still bring in some spooky aspects to it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the best Haunted Mansion movie, period, when it comes to staying honest to the Haunted Mansion, as well as sort of creating a funny story around it, which they do a great job of.
Because it's the Muppets.
So there's a couple other ones too. There's one with Eddie Murphy. That one kind of gets just off, and it's like, it's not really...
Yeah.
It would have been better just to be like the Haunted House or something like that and not make it the Haunted Mansion.
I would say that one's like
on
third on my list of Haunted Mansion movies. The first one, obviously, the Muppets. That one's third. And then the second one I would put as the one that they just came out with that was live action last year.
Yeah. That was okay. That had Jack Black in it, didn't it? Yeah.
And it was okay, but again, they didn't...
Muppets is so far above them, though.
Yeah, they just didn't pull in aspects from the ride, and they kind of tried to create their own IP.
Yeah.
Essentially, which, I can appreciate because Disney not trying to just create, but they named it an IP and didn't pull from the original IP. So there was that.
Yeah, it's the Disney recipe right there. Another one is Casper.
Casper does take place around Halloween, I believe, because she does have a costume party. I think it was like a Halloween costume party at the end.
Interesting. I mean, it's a kids movie, so I'm going in that this is probably one of the more Halloween town, I would say, kind of kids movies.
It's very short.
It does have a Dan Aykroyd Ghostbusters reference in it, which is only like one of the two other times that he was ever a Ghostbusters outside of the Ghostbusters movie, which is cool little trivia there. I like the movie, and I liked Christina Ricci.
It goes from 0 to 60.
It's
very
a short
fast.
movie. Yeah, it is a very... We rewatched it, actually, probably
on
last
some
Halloween.
Delta flights, yeah.
And we were just amazed at how fast the movie moves forward. Like, she, moves into the house, goes to school, and they're like, let's have a party at your house. It's like, I don't even know you people.
Yeah.
And who would invite themselves to my house? And she's like, let's do it. And it was like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this?
Yeah. And then the party is like 3 or 4 days later.
Yeah.
And the ghost kid is like trying to make her his wife.
It's very confusing.
He's very much codependent on her, and it's...
And then the weird brothers or whatever they are, uncles, had an
basically killed her dad.
Yeah.
And then, it's a whole, as a kid watching it, I didn't realize some of the deeper storylines that are in this movie, but definitely a good Halloween movie.
So the next one we have is Ghostbusters.
The original.
You got to tell us in the comments, Ghostbusters a Halloween movie?
I think so, because it deals with ghosts, and when do you think about ghosts? You think about ghosts mostly during the fall and during Halloween. Now, are ghosts something that could happen at any point or time during the year? Yeah, 100%. But when I think of Ghostbusters, I think about watching it around Halloween.
Okay. I love Ghostbusters. It's one of my favorite movies, so you're never going to hear a complaint if you want to watch that movie. I don't know if it's a Halloween movie though, but I think it's a fantastic movie. So watch it whenever you want to watch it. I mean, if you've never seen it, basically, the keymaster is looking for the gatekeeper. It's an adult joke if you can put that one together, and the Ghostbusters have to stop the coming of ego.
Yep, and they do.
Well, kind of. I mean, he does come back in later movies, so
True. And I do like Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think that one was really good. It doesn't take place during Halloween, but again, going with the whole general ghost theme.
And it's actually a little scarier to me than the original Ghostbusters was. So if you're looking for a little bit scarier, especially in the beginning with the Egon stuff, I think that it actually is a little scarier.
Yeah, I think they don't do a lot of comedic relief in that one.
Yeah, that's for sure.
There's not a whole lot of like comedic release to kind of help break up some of that tension.
Yeah.
In the movie.
It's a lot more serious.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like weirdly serious because like Paul Rudd's a scientist, but yet he doesn't seem to figure anything out scientist-wise. He just seems to be the bumbling goofball that's following them along, but he's the most educated person there. So it's a weird contrast they have. Another one is Little Shop of Horrors.
Which I've never seen.
You've never seen Little Shop of Horrors?
I've never seen Little Shop of Horrors.
So basically it's a man-eating plant or whatever, a human-eating plant.
Yeah.
And that's the whole premise.
I know the songs, but I don't.
It was originally a play, I believe.
Yeah.
I think it started as a play. They made it into a movie. Rick Moranis is in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad movie. I've seen it a few times. The Fox, where we lived, used to have like afternoon movies on Saturday, and that would be the one that they would play actually around like Halloween time. So that's the most I've seen it.
Maybe we'll have to add that to our list of movies to watch this year.
And it's a solid sort of Halloween-esque movie. And the reason why I think of it like that is I think because the local channel used to play it around Halloween time.
Okay. That makes sense.
But basically he's trying to hide that the man-eating plant, and then the man-eating plant starts getting bigger and eating more. And it's sort of the whole like rolling down a hill type of thing where it just keeps getting bigger and more out of control.
And that brings us to our next cult classic.
Well, let's save that one for the end.
Okay.
We got the other one, Hubie Halloween.
Oh yeah, Hubie Halloween.
That is a Halloween movie. It takes place in Halloween.
I liked it.
Adam Sandler's pretty good in it.
It's funny. It's spooky. It's got a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
He is supposed to be making a second one. And it is.
I think they're filming right now because I saw a TikTok and they were like, when you open your door and you see Adam Sandler filming his next movie.
So he's already filmed the Hubie Halloween. He's filming Happy Gilmore 2 right now.
Oh, that makes sense why he has the golf clubs. Yeah. Okay.
So he's filming Happy Gilmore 2, but I'm pretty sure he's already actually finished the Hubie Halloween 2. It is a Netflix only show, so if you don't have Netflix, it's kind of becoming a pain because one of my favorite Christmas movies is Klaus. And it's only on Netflix, so we're going to basically buy a bootleg from China, a Blu-ray of it, so that we actually have a copy of it. But there's no way to actually buy it because they don't sell them individually, which is
sad.
One of the frustrating things. And the next movie is also a Netflix-only movie that we'll talk about. But Hubie Halloween's really cute. It's basically this like loner who's been pushed around his entire life actually comes upon a real mystery and finds out that there's like a werewolf guy in the town, but the werewolf guy's super nice. So it's even weirder. Like they're trying to hunt him down. He's like, I'm just trying to help you, Hubie. Why are you always trying to hurt me? You know, like type of thing. And it's got the typical cast of Adam Sandler walkabouts, I guess, who are all great and really fun. So if you want a cute one and kind of funny, and you like that Adam Sandler type of comedy, definitely recommend there. And then the other one that we talk about, Netflix only, is Totally Killer.
Yeah, I don't remember what service we watched it on last year.
It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix movie.
And so it's a Blumhouse production. And Blumhouse is the production studio that did oh my gosh, the movie where they you get the 1 day a year. What is that movie called? They get 1 day a year and basically everything is
The Purge.
The Purge. Yeah, so Blumhouse started making the Purge movies. They also made a few other ones, and so this was kind of like their streaming movie. And we watched it last year, and I thought it was pretty well. It is a little more gory because it is a Blumhouse movie, But basically, they try to go back in time. It's like Hot Tub Time Machine meets like a slasher film,
Yeah.
and it's got some comedic relief in it. And I think they just do a really good job trying to kind of tie all the circles in. It's a little bit Groundhog Day esque too. Like she's trying to figure out who this killer is. So she goes back in time to try and stop this killer. And the time machine is a photo booth.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually they figure it out. And honestly, I liked it. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I think it's an okay movie. The lady who plays Sabrina is the main character.
Brina.
And she does an okay job. The movie's interesting. It has the lady from Modern Family, the mom from Modern Family, and some other semi big name characters. There's nobody super huge in the movie.
No.
But the storyline's fun. It's a simple movie, and it definitely, if you're trying to guess who the killer is, it's kind of fun because it really doesn't all come together until the end. There's a lot of like, it's a twist. It's a twist.
But I think they did a really good job with the movie. Honestly, for a streaming movie, I think it came out really good.
Yeah. A couple honorable mentions that if you want some more, there's obviously the Halloween movie series. They all take place at Halloween.
Oh yeah.
Those are slasher movies.
Friday the 13th movies.
Which is Friday the 13th, but kind of Halloween too. I think there are some mixes in there. So if you want the more like slashery ones, there's always those available too. But the one that we've always wanted to go to and do one of these actual like in-person shows is the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, we watched it for the first time like
a few years ago. Yeah.
The soundtrack's interesting. It's a whole like it's its own thing.
Yeah. It's so culty that you like bring different fruits and stuff to the picture and you throw stuff at the screen and you do all these like crazy things.
People dress up.
That's kind of what I look forward to. The movie's okay. I don't have anything against the movie. I think it's an all right movie. I'm excited in the experience. I really want to go and do one of the sit-in experiences and just kind of experience that whole
the
movie
vibe,
shindig, and see what it's like. Because I can't imagine you show up to a movie with like 50, 60 other people and they're all just kind of like yelling at the screen at the same time and doing all these other things. So again, it's all about the experience. I feel like it's this whole sort of adventure that you get to undertake with all these other people and do these really amazing things.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see it. I don't really know how often they have those up here where we're at, but we're definitely going to try and see if we can find one.
Yeah, I'm thinking like around the Atlanta area. There's a lot of like stuff, especially in like little 5 Points and stuff that's very kind of like artsy and stuff. I feel like that could be an area where we might be able to find a live showing and kind of do that whole adventure. I don't even know what we're getting into. That's the crazy part. It's kind of like you're going into this blind.
Yep.
You're going to do all this stuff and you don't really know what's going to happen.
But that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
So
those are some of our Halloween movie picks. If you know some more, definitely leave us a comment. We'll definitely be interested in it. As you can see, we're not really big slasher fans.
No.
But always up for recommendations.
Yeah, we're always looking for like interesting culty classics too. So if you've got a cult classic that maybe we didn't mention, definitely drop us a comment and we'll check it out and let you guys know.
Yeah, so our next segment, we're going to talk a little bit about going back to our hometown. So we'll be back in 1 sec.
So we just got back from a trip to LA, but also a trip to Southwest Florida.
Yeah, we went out to LA. We stayed there for about 8 to 10 days. Then we flew to our hometown, we technically flew to Tampa.
Yeah.
And then we went to Port Charlotte where her sister lives.
Yeah.
And had a fun little weekend there.
Yeah, so it was an interesting weekend being back in Southwest Florida because we left Southwest Florida over 12 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a very long time.
Maybe longer. And we have not physically been back to Southwest Florida. It's been 7 years for me because when Lily was born, I went back for a few days to see her. But outside of that, they would come to us when we were in Orlando. And so we had not really been back in that part of town for a very long time. And so we wanted to hit up some of our favorite spots. Now, we didn't get to hit up everything. We are planning on going back in October when my sister has her second baby. And we're going to do a little bit more exploration into our hometown. So definitely be on the lookout for videos on that once we get there. But we went on a Friday night. We went out. It was the day we flew in. We were exhausted, but we really wanted to go try one of our old haunts, which was Iguanamia. Now, Iguanamia started in the early 1990s in Cape Coral, on Cape Coral Parkway. It was the place to be. So this place used to be the place to be. And the weird thing was we got there and it was dead. There was nobody there. There were some people eating in the restaurant, but like it used to be that you would have like at least an hour to 2 hour wait sometimes, especially on the weekend. And weirdly enough, it was a Friday night. I think it was right around 7, 8 p.m. They closed at 9.
Yeah, you're kind of skipping the drive. So we drove from Port Charlotte down to Cape Coral, which is a decent drive. It's about an hour and a half, which is a little bit longer than we wanted, but it is what it is. We got to the sort of Del Prado area where we grew up, and it was different.
Yeah,
Like the
everything had
same,
changed.
like the same buildings were there, but they were different colors, and it seemed a little rundown. And especially like the restaurants we drive past were dead. There was like
Yes.
no one there, from Hooters to like the Bob
Especially like
Evans.
that main drag from I think it's like I would say even like Pine Island, from like Pine Island until Cape Coral Parkway. That main drag used to be like one of the nicer areas to be in. It almost kind of felt like a little ghetto.
Yeah, it's definitely so. There's a place called the Del Prado Extension, which is like used to be new homes. It seems like there's a few more like communities and stuff in there, and it's kind of like moved down that way, I guess, the nicer
Yeah.
areas. But even like the Del Prado businesses and stuff, all of them seem like these strip malls that were all built before we left. But a lot of them had stuff in there, but they were empty.
Yep.
Like one of the funny ones we drove past was we used to go to this place for fish and chips, and it was called Pete's Fish and Chips.
Yeah.
Now it's called Pete's Fish and Cheese Sticks.
So we don't know if it's the same guy still owns it and now he just makes cheesesteaks, or if he sold it and somebody decided to keep the name.
Somewhat.
We don't really know.
Yeah.
We may add it to the list of places to check out when we go back. But yeah, that place used to be, well, because we went the last time over a decade ago when we were back in the Cape. I think it was for Vinny's kids thing. And we went to go check it out, and I think it was like $20.
Oh yeah, it was super expensive, and it was
For-
like 2 pieces of fish and fries.
And they were good. Like they were
Yeah.
authentic British, legit British food, but we were like, this place isn't gonna last very long.
Yeah, you can tell. Once the prices start going up and the portion sizes start shrinking, that's kind of the end of most of the restaurants.
There were a lot more car washes.
Oh my gosh, there were so many. I think we went past at least 10 on Del Prado alone, and it was like car wash, car wash. And it's like, how dirty are people's
How
cars?
many car washes do y'all need? We think it's just because they're laundering money.
I don't know about that. But it's just weird that
Yeah.
they all, and like all the restaurants we went past, there used to be this clown restaurant that was on the water. It's no longer a clown restaurant. It used to be called like Jimbo's or something.
Yeah.
It's another restaurant, but it was empty too. Like all of the restaurants were just dead.
And the fascinating thing, the road behind where Iguanamia is used to be like where all the nightclubs were. And on the
nightclubs,
weekends,
it's kind of a stretch, but yeah.
yeah, they were just the where you would go to drink if you were over 21. And they used to be busy.
Yeah.
Like they would do like block parties and they would have DJs out there. I can remember we went once or twice when we lived down in the Cape, and there was nobody. It was
Yeah,
quiet.
Nobody at all. And Iguanamia, like she talks about, so we finally get down to Cape Coral Parkway, which used to be a fairly busy place. There was like a pizza place we used to go there called Sal's. I didn't see that there anymore, and that
Nope.
was there since like the 80s, so that's kind of weird that closed. We got down to like the area where it is. There used to be like a pool hall and stuff there. That's gone. There still is like a couple of the nightclubby places, and again, that's a really stretch if you've ever been to Cape Coral nightclub. But we went into Iguanamia. There was no one in there.
No,
There was probably 20 tables set.
we sat down right away.
Yeah.
And while the food was still good, I will say that the food was still good, the service
Was definitely
just wasn't there, and it
C
wasn't that
plus
busy.
maybe. And,
So
yeah.
that was kind of the disappointing part.
And no one was sitting outside. There always used to be people outside sitting, inside sitting. The waiting area would have people backed up out the door.
Yeah.
No, it was dead.
Yeah.
And it's weird because if you think about it, I guess it's a little it was probably still a little early for snowbird season. So I don't know how much snowbird season still affects down there because it was still a little too warm, I think.
Yeah, I think snowbirds start coming in October.
Yeah. So that could be maybe one of the reasons why it was a little slower. But it was just weird that it was nothing. And then after we left, we drove around a little bit in the area just to kind of check some things out that we had.
We took a different way back. We went up through
Coral
like
Parkway.
North Cape Coral and
Yeah.
out this old road called Burnt Store. And that had changed too. There were so many apartment complexes.
Yeah. So many lights. There used to not be lights out there. It
Yeah.
used to be just headlights were the only thing steering you through that area.
That was where you'd go to get necked.
Yeah, that was the fastest route to Port Charlotte for me, but apparently that's where Nancy would go and make out with people.
Yeah, it's like because there was nothing out there. There was no houses.
Daphne's got her duck.
Daphne's got her duck always. It's a big duck too.
But there were a lot of houses out there, and it was weird too. It's just like, I don't know. It seemed like when we got back to Port Charlotte was busier than Cape Coral was.
Yeah, Port Charlotte definitely felt like it had more going on than what Cape Coral did, and I don't know what. Now we were only in town for like a few hours that night, so we didn't really go back during the daylight. And when we come back, after my sister has her baby, we're definitely planning on checking out a little bit more because there's another restaurant that we really like to go to that we want to go check out. And we'll see if maybe it was a fluke or
Yeah, we're not against trying Pete's and seeing if it's actually still fish and chips. And there's one more other restaurant that we used to do on
Pine Island.
on Pine Island. I think it was like Foster's or something, but I don't know if that's even exists anymore.
Oh yeah, Foster's Grill.
Yeah, so those are like the 4 places that we kind of want to see just because they're old and kind of like a part of our past. And then we have some places like heading past the Walmart on Del Prado where I used to hang out all the time. I have my old house is back there. So checking out some of those things too on our way back. Oh yeah, the Perkins.
I didn't even notice the Perkins, if I'm completely honest with you.
I'm pretty sure it was still there.
I didn't look for it.
Yeah.
They have a Love Boat ice cream now in the Cape, which I used to eat out on Fort Myers Beach.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to check that out because Love Boat makes some really good ice cream.
And I'm trying to think of what else. I think we're going to try to check out the Edison home, Winterford Estates, and probably, like I said, we're going to do a drive-by of the Shell factory because it's closed.
Not that kind of drive-by. It is North Fort Myers.
Yeah. Gotta be careful. Maybe drive past the old Phantom fireworks.
Yeah, we go past Old Phantom. We can go past where your grandmother lived in that trailer park.
Which, weirdly enough, Gary's parents lived there.
Before then, yes.
Wait, like
Way
before, in the before four. So there's like so much like history there. So we're just gonna kind of peel back that time capsule and just kind of relive some of our roots.
Yeah, I'd like to get out to Lehigh where one of my best friends used to live back in the day and kind of see that. I bet you that house is probably still out there. Let's assume it didn't burn down from a fire because it was pretty shabby when he lived there.
Oh, the one that had like the 2 levels in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that house.
Had like this weird living room that kind of went downstairs. It was like that 80s design where they would put your living room in like a pit and then like the kitchen was above it. So yeah,
It was a big house, but yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. So like some of those things I'd like to see too and just kind of see what it used to be like. But what we saw,
Was disappointing.
yeah, it's kind of like you can't go home again.
Yep. It's not the same. Everybody that I think we loved is gone and not there anymore. And it's a different vibe. It's a different town.
It's a different vibe. It's a different time. Yeah.
It's a different time.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think we're gonna go past our old high school.
Well, yeah, that's in North Fort Myers.
And I could take you past all the 20 million houses that I lived in. I lived in like 20 or so houses. Gary, only a few.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to.
Oh, we have the TCBY and the Blockbuster where we went on our first date.
Yeah, neither of those are there anymore.
No.
I think the strip mall is still there, but the other stuff is not there. Yeah, so there's like a lot of stuff to see. We're hoping to get to that sometime in October whenever her sister decides to have the baby.
Yeah. So we look forward to that.
And we're hoping that she holds out till October 1st.
Yeah. October 1st. So just keep your fingers crossed.
Sometime after that.
By the time you've heard this, well,
Oh, yeah, this is actually
this will
gonna
be
this is going to be the end of October.
so, yeah. But we'll have an update, I'm sure, on Instagram and TikTok. So,
Yeah.
if you guys want to go back and see what happened, go back and see what happened.
So if you listen to us on YouTube, please take a moment and give us a thumbs up.
And make sure you hit that subscribe button.
And ring that notification bell so you get notified we do at least 3 videos a week.
And we'll come and get you guys for the next one.
Ain't that the truth? Baby Ruth.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. And for you on the podcast, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.